What's going on, everybody? This is an episode from the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast. Do you like podcasts and you want to see the full podcast? Make sure you check out the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast on all your podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, among many others. But you're listening to the episode right here on YouTube, so make sure you hit that like button and below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button to NC Studios and NC Level Up for all your gaming needs. This is the Nerd Coalition. Enjoy the show. Let's go on to now Hall of Fame.
Hey, Philly
Hall of Fame, and we went from having no names to 3 names.
all right.
And we're going to just go over the names and a little bit of the contributions. So the first day that was inducted was with a no-brainer, Paul Heyman.
Obviously, we waited this long to come back to Philly.
Yeah.
It's only right that he gets inducted here.
Yeah, the wise man. So, fun fact, Paul Heyman didn't want to go to the Hall of Fame.
That doesn't shock me, actually.
And Paul Heyman said, I have a lot left to do. And he felt as though
Ain't nobody tell you had to go sit down. Look
Yes.
at Rey Mysterio. He's still flipping and flopping and 619 and through ropes.
I think Paul Heyman, it could be like a little bit more pure to the point. Like, say, I think when my career is done,
Yes,
I
then
should
you
be
go
a Hall
in.
of Famer.
Yeah.
You know, and you should give notice to people who have retired, have gone on, so they get them.
He's like, I don't want to be ruthless.
But it don't want to be exactly. But this is a Triple H fully controlled Hall of Fame. And he has shown that I'm going to put
some names that y'all wouldn't have really
that-
thought. We ain't going to have no Coco Bewares in here.
Yeah, no, we ain't doing that. So
No shade to that man.
Paul Heyman, I know y'all know Paul. Well, okay, let me not assume. But when you hear Paul Heyman, Q-Photo said the wise man, but ladies catch, when you hear Paul Heyman, what's the first thing you think of?
ECW.
Yeah.
Well, because we from here.
Yeah.
And we've been to shows at the ECW. We still call it the ECW arena. It's not the ECW arena anymore, obviously. But that's the first thing I think of.
Yeah. Now, if Paul Heyman's career ended in 2001 after he got fired, he's still a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. But he got so much extra stuff to see.
There's so much stuff that happened. He's had different phases of his career.
Now, I remember Paul Heyman because I used to watch WCW back in the day. Mm-hmm. And Paulie Dangerously with the Dangerous Alliance.
That damn ponytail.
Yeah, they had like Steve Austin and Larry Zbyszko and all them on there. And that was one of the best factions that they had in WCW at that time. And this is like 92 WCW era. I ain't talking about Nitro. I'm talking about just like that early era of WCW, because he was just a photographer for Vince's father. Then turned into becoming a manager, which, by the way, Paul Heyman does not like the word manager. He does not want to be called a manager at all. He uses things like the advocate or wise man, things like that. But do you know why that is?
No, why?
So Paul Heyman said, he said the reason why he does not want to be called a manager is because he said there's one manager who's the greatest of all time, and he will not be number 2, because it will always be the greatest manager of all time is Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Okay.
So he wants
this man's a purist for real.
Yeah. He said, I will never be the greatest manager of all time. I will never be number 1 because it will always be Bobby the Brain Heenan. So, but I can always be the number 1 advocate, or the best wise man, or the best whatever he was called. Yeah, whatever it's called. But when it comes to using the term manager, he will always be like number 2. Okay, and when you go through, and it's hard to argue with that, because Bobby the Brain Heenan, because I remember Bobby the Brain Heenan as well. And I ain't talking about his career where he was doing commentary over at Nitro. Is one of the best managers, if not the best manager of all time. Who you talking to? Some people may say Cornette, but between,
I feel like people will not say that.
Okay, well,
they won't admit it.
Okay, but between Heenan, Heyman, and Cornette, those are your top 3 right there. So that's why he felt as though that he doesn't want to use that term.
Okay.
Now, my question is here: Who do y'all think is going to induct him?
I don't know. I'm thinking some ECW folk would be great because it's Philly.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Okay, go ahead.
I was thinking the Dudleys. I know you said CM Punk. I'm not mad at that. He ain't doing nothing like you said. That's all I'm gonna say in these words.
Those all been saying words. Yeah, okay, definitely I did say that.
But yeah, I'm thinking the Dudleys. It ain't gonna be Brock. We can kiss that. We can kiss that goodbye. It would be cool if it was Roman, but I doubt it. But yeah, somebody ECW, go find Tommy Dreamer or Sandman or somebody.
Okay. So here's the thing. 'Cause I was thinking the same thing, but I as much as I want to give credit for thinking this, I have to go by because I was listening to my boy Solomon today. Mm-hmm. He brought up a good point because he said, I don't think Paul Heyman wants anybody from ECW to induct him.
I can see that. That was not a great time. Not a great time for him.
Also because, and he made a good point, he said, when you have somebody from ECW induct Paul Heyman in Philly, it all becomes about ECW.
It's all ECW, yeah.
And he is so much more than ECW.
But do you see? I feel like it's complicated
now,
because that's the origin story for most.
Okay, I'm sorry. A lot of going on. What were you saying, Q?
I was about to say that's true, but I mean when he came to Philly, Extreme Rules and everybody's on ECW, he had no problem going Philly, my town. Like he had no problem doing it then. So I'm just saying, like, I guess I get it now because it is a more serious moment. But like, come on, man, like this is Philly, man, like.
But it's a whole.
That's just like that's like if a former coach of the Eagles became a wrestling advocate and he gets in the Hall of Fame and he's like, well, I don't want somebody from the Eagles to do it because then it'll just be about the Eagles. It's like, bro, you in Philly, you in a wrestling town and you a former Eagles coach, like. Just let it rock, man. Pander for a little bit. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm being selfish.
Well, no, anybody selfish. But what you gonna say, Liz?
I just feel like I could see why he wouldn't want that to be because one, depending on who it is from ECW, are we even going to? We're not going to get any WWE because a lot of y'all never translated well into WWE in the first place and have no track record here to talk about anything. The Dudleys, sure.
What? Yeah,
but,
go ahead.
I mean, like, you can't just say any old body because, one, everybody cannot induct you well. That's one. Two, if you want somebody to do a speech that is well-rounded about his whole career, then somebody from ECW may not work. And so I could see how that could take away from the moment, especially when he's currently doing good work in the WWE right now.
See, the thing is,
that's why I say get the Dudleys.
Well, see, Bully Ray already said on Busted Open down that he's going to do it. Tommy Dreamer came out busted up and said he doesn't want to do it. Okay, he doesn't want to do it, and he feels though that he shouldn't be the one to do it. And then
did they say why they don't want to do it though?
But I think that there has just been so much disconnection from Paul Heyman of what he has been. If you take Paul Heyman from 2001 and go on to now, a lot of people don't realize that. Okay, Paul Heyman, he got fired and came back. Like the next year, he was a writer, almost like the head writer on one of the best eras of SmackDown there ever was. This is why it promised what he was talking about. But they had the SmackDown 6. That was like that was the best era of SmackDown when it was going with SmackDown against Raw head to head when they first did the draft. And 2002, 2003 SmackDown was the best compared to Raw. Of course, they wouldn't make the Raw the A show, but SmackDown had the better storylines, the better everything, and they didn't even have a women's champion. He did that. Then also, when it came to the ECW brand that Vince had brought over, and him having that whole blow up with Vince on the plane because of how terrible ECW December to Dismember was, and the ideas he wanted for ECW, and it was like Vince, we're not doing that under my ECW. Yeah. You know, this is do-rag Vince we talking about here.
Oh my God! Please don't ever remind me of that shit again.
Excuse me, but Vince wanted Bobby to have the championship, but he wanted CM Punk to have the championship, and it didn't work. It didn't blow up, and then he came back. 2002, he's Paul Heyman. He was Brock Lesnar's manager, which is probably one of the best wrestler-manager combos that they've ever done. He was managing the Big Show. He managed Kurt Angle for a little bit. He did CM Punk, Cesaro, Roman Reigns. There's so much. I even heard somebody say Stone Cold can induct him. Him bringing Stone Cold over into ECW for that time period. Remember, he was managing Steve Austin when he was Paulie Dangerously in WCW. He had the big ass cell phone. So his career spans so much more.
He has a lot to offer
than just ECW. And then you're gonna get a ECW guy that's going to talk to you about Paul in what he did to affect us in ECW.
Which again did not end well.
So the reason why I said, because the way I see it, CM Punk.
I only say that only because we're here in the city, but I think it does make sense for someone else to do it. CM Punk might be.
Did we here in the city? I don't want the Sandman inducting Paul.
Listen, that's what I was trying to dance around that fact when I was talking about. You don't want just any old body. Okay, you want to go collect him from Kensington to go and do this, this speech.
Because I get what you're saying, like, you know, for like Philly Pride, I get that. But when it comes to the Sandman, Dreamer, the Dudley Boys, Taz, even RVD's high ass, when you got all them things, they only minus RVD, they only revolve, unfortunately, around ECW. CM Punk actually follows Paul Heyman. He was the whole Paul Heyman guy, that was CM Punk guy. He had a lot of history with Paul Heyman. And he was part of that new ECW brand, and he could talk.
Can he talk? All right, listen. Can he talk? Not about himself.
He's not Ric Flair. He's not Ric Flair. He's not Ric Flair.
I kid, but I think that would be a decent pick. Is that what Solomon was saying when he was that it should be? Who did he say?
No, he was just saying somebody that's not from ECW.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying,
we biased, but logistically I understand why it should not be someone, because honestly, you never know, especially when you come out of a situation like that, and you moved on, you get up there and start talking, you might say some wild shit that you ain't know was still fresh.
Conan.
You done ripped the scab off, and you're like, ooh, that's still raw.
Yeah, no. First of all, you can't get the Sandman to wear a tux, so they ain't having it.
Okay, no, because I do not want him coming out there chugging beers with a Kindle stick over his shoulder. Yes. We good. I did not mean him.
And don't get me wrong.
I did not mean him.
To the Quattros out there, and and for everybody that's out there, I appreciate everything ECW brought here in Philly. WCW and WWF have copied ECW when they was around. They didn't start using tables until ECW was using the tables. The Sandman come out and chugging beers. They see Stone Cold's doing the same thing on television. I'm not saying Stone Cold didn't drink no beer. I'm saying the way he was doing on television. There's inspiration from both WCW, from ECW and both WCW and WWF at that time. Yeah. So he's influential, and yes, we in Philly, we gonna be a little bit of bias, and we're going to get the infamous ECW chance. But
of course,
but I can respect that if you got an ECW guy who necessarily doesn't want to be the one that's going to induct him.
I was just wondering if they elaborated at all. I mean, again, I could completely see why they would be like, no, thank you. Especially when all of them are employed elsewhere. Literally all of them work somewhere else right now. So I get it.
Well, I mean, they still got legend contracts and stuff like that. So
but Tommy Dreamer and the Dudleys have legend contracts? Devon.
No, the Dudleys do.
Both of them? I didn't know that.
RVD does. And
I thought that RVD didn't, but I could see that. I didn't know.
So he in the game this year.
Both the Dudleys had legends contracts. Yeah.
So neither here nor there. So next on the list we do have Japanese sensation, Bull Nakio.
Is that her name?
That is her name.
Okay.
Now I know.
Oh, Nakano.
Okay.
Thank you. That's why I was like, I don't know for sure, because I am not as familiar with her, but I know sometimes you be struggling with the names. I just want to make sure.
No. I always struggle with the Japanese names. Okay. Always. But I'm familiar with her because she was wrestling back during the New Generation era. This is like 94.
Wasn't there like some kind of controversy with her?
Well, I know she's very stiff as shit, but
I don't think that was it.
But if there was controversy, I didn't look. You could look it up. But she started wrestling at 15 years old.
Whoo! I'm sorry.
And she was, a Joshi wrestler. She came in she had a brief run in WWE in the mid '90s with feuding with Alundra Blaze. Actually took her Alundra Blaze's championship. This is back when Vince was trying to revive the women's division, and then Homegirl was too stiff, and they only had 4 women in the women's division in the first place. They said, "Yeah, no, we're not doing this no more. It's over." So, and she ended up retiring at 28 years old.
Yeah, so she retired back in '97.
Yeah, so
she's a professional golfer. That's crazy.
But she has been one of the best Joshi wrestlers that they had. She had, of course, a big career over in Japan. And I don't think she had enough time. Well, Vince didn't get a woman enough time or opportunities anyway in the 90s, period.
That's what it was.
What happened?
She got let go, I think, because she had some coke.
Oh.
Okay. And everybody was like, hey, yo, not y'all letting this lady go for coke. And y'all out here literally high as giraffe pussy on any and everything you can get your hands on. And y'all let this lady go because she had some coke.
Every Ultimate Warrior promo. Everyone.
This is allegedly she had some cocaine. That was it. That's they let her go after that, which feels real weird because what?
Yeah. We'll see.
What? In this era.
In this era, at this time,
y'all listen.
In this place.
Selective outrage, I tell you.
Well, automatically, Alundra Blaze should be the one that's going to induct her for the little rivalry they had in the midnight. Then we get our tag team.
Okay.
We get our tag team of Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham, the U.S. Express. So, I can tell there's a little bit of continuity here that Twitch trying to do because they were the ones that had, I think they won the tag team championships or was the first tag. I think they had to win the tag team championship on the first WrestleMania.
In the first WrestleMania, I think he said that all of their counterparts. There's a video that was released of him calling them and telling them that they were getting inducted, and I was like, "Do y'all want to be in here?" Yeah. But I think they were it felt kind of sad.
Yeah.
But I think he was saying all of their counterparts are in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And they the last.
Well, actually, Barry Windham was already in there.
Well, yeah, as part of Four Horsemen. Yeah. I'm talking about everybody who was involved in them first few WrestleManias. They all in there already, but they're not in there together.
Exactly. So I don't mind it. I don't mind them as going as the U.S. Express. Like I said, Barry Windham was already in there for the Horsemen. So this will be his second time going in. The selfishness in me wanted Mike Rotunda to go in as IRS because I enjoyed the IRS character that he had, part of the $1 Million Team with Ted DiBiase. I figured that's how he was going to go in, but I do understand this more of a natural wrestler history type of role that he was in, opposed to the gimmick '90s Vince shit. So I can completely understand that. It does suck because we just I don't even think it ain't been a year since she lost Bray Wyatt. She lost Bray Wyatt back in October.
I don't know if it's October, but it definitely hasn't been a year. I don't know. It just maybe they was already on the list. They was on a short list, and they was like, "Well, let's put them in now." But the one thing that I just hate about this is other conversations that it's opened up for people to be like, well, Bray Wyatt should be in there, and if you put Bray Wyatt in there, then put this person in there. Like, yo.
Okay, you know what?
Leave it alone.
So we come up with the conversation. So since this happened, right? Mm-hmm. How do we feel about a possibility of a Bray Wyatt induction into the Hall of Fame this year?
Your honest opinion. It's gonna be a sad Philly. Gonna be sad from broad to broad, from the top of broad to the bottom of broad.
I don't know, man. I don't feel like that it would be an unjust induction or anything. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm listening. I'm listening to you, Q-Flow.
I kind of echo it. I'm not 100% sure how I would feel. Just because it's still fresh.
Yeah.
And also it feels like it's like, oh, he's just going in there. It's more so it's just going to be because he died, and I don't think it's going to focus on. I don't think it's going to focus fully. On what he has done. But it's just like, he was because he was on his way there. He got the Taker cosign and all that. He was on his way there, and then this roadblock happens, and it's like,
well,
oh boy, like.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Okay, go ahead, Lise.
I was just want to say, I wouldn't want it to feel like it cheapened. I guess that's the word the best word I can come up with, the induction, because it's not like he wouldn't. It's so far-fetched to say he deserved it, but it's like, do you do it now and it feels like y'all only did it because he passed, or do you do it in a couple years because you still want to acknowledge him, but you don't want it to feel like the only reason we did is because he passed, kind of thing.
Okay, I do understand all that, but I do think y'all are overlooking a thing here, because the same thing happened with Eddie Guerrero.
Now, see, my memory do not run that long.
Eddie Guerrero died in November of 2005. Mm-hmm. Then he was put in the Hall of Fame in April of 2006. Okay. So that's only a 4, 5, 6 month span. Okay, and then everybody was the same question people had for Bray Wyatt is the same thing they had for Eddie Guerrero. Mm-hmm. And but not realizing like the career Eddie Guerrero had. The career of him in El Paso, Texas, and grew up in the Guerrero family.
Nah, but you.
Okay, I'm listening.
But you know what though? I feel like, but Eddie had a longer career though, didn't he?
You say he had a what?
Longer career.
He had a longer career than Bray though, didn't he?
Well, okay. Well, if you look at it this way, Eddie Guerrero died at 39. Bray died at 36. So
longer career.
I'm just
well,
okay.
No, I won't say that. I won't say that. But it's like I don't know. I feel like Eddie would. I don't know, man. I don't know.
But okay, but I'm saying, but even when it comes to long, I mean, because right now you can sit there and look back at all the career accomplishments of Eddie Guerrero. But if I was to ask you right now about what do you remember most about Eddie Guerrero, I'm gonna do this right now. What does Q-Flow remember most about Eddie Guerrero?
I'm from that La Chi Steel era. However, I remember. Damn, I can't really think of much like the La Chi Steel era, but I do know he did more than that though, because I seen the footage. I've seen the footage, but like.
But I'm saying, even with you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm saying, so even with you seeing the footage, I mean, it's like. I've seen footage of Ernie Ladd, but he's just not my era, But however, Lady Sketch, when you about Eddie Guerrero, what do you remember most about Eddie Guerrero? Like honestly,
that Latino Heat era, he had the whole thing with China. See, I was watching wrestling at the time when he was around, so I do actually remember seeing Eddie Guerrero matches. So it wouldn't have been. I probably still would have had the same questions. One, my brain would not have been thinking about it in that way back then. But I might have had the same questions like, okay, do we put him in just because he died, and make it seem like that is the only reason why, or do we put him in because we just enjoyed his work, like his body of work?
But the point I'm trying to make here is that for you and Q-Flow, right? Mm-hmm. Eddie Guerrero was a tag team mid-carder at best from what you've seen. Eddie Guerrero was only on top for a year. He only had the championship in 2004, and then from 2004 to the year 2004 to 2005, that's when Eddie was on top.
I mean, but see, again, you are the wrestling historian here in this conversation. I enjoyed Eddie Guerrero's run, like what I saw from Eddie Guerrero, whether it was a mid-carder or he was on top. Yeah. Just like I enjoyed the work that Bray Wyatt did. And I think creatively he had a much bigger impact than you could say for an Eddie Guerrero.
That's what I'm saying. But like I said, even with you knowing from that, Eddie had his WCW run. He had the ECW run. Mm-hmm. He had the whole Guerrero Fame run. You know, the cruiserweight division that he have elevated with. You know.
Wait. What are we talking about?
Now I'm dropping in the middle of a conversation.
First off, welcome to the show, Prime.
What's up?
Okay, and so we are talking about the Hall of Fame, and we're talking about we talked about so far, you know, the inductees that we have, and we're discussing that do we think that Bray Wyatt should be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year? And I was comparing him when I was asking Q-Flow and Lady Sketch about it. I was comparing. I said this is kind of similar to Eddie Guerrero when he just passed away, and they put him in the Hall of Fame in the next 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was comparing him to. And I was saying I had to ask them because, like I said, you wasn't on. I know you're more of a wrestler fan. I'm saying, but I had to ask them because when Q-Flow asked the question, you know, whose career was long, I said Eddie Guerrero died at 39 and Bray died at 36. And I was asking, like, when you think of Eddie Guerrero, what do you think of? And he said, "I'm the lie, cheat, and steal." And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't want anybody to try to cover their answer. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just trying to make a point that Eddie, to a lot of newer fans, especially at that time, was nothing but a mid-carder who just got a championship and who just got on the top the last year of his life. Bray Wyatt came in with the Wyatt family, had the great rivalry with the Shield, had the great match with the Shield. Lost momentum after John Cena beat him.
Yeah.
Okay. But the whole that and the creative aspect of Bray Wyatt, and he was put in there with top names almost from the start. Yeah. From Kane to John Cena to The Undertaker. They brought in Strowman. Then when the Swamp character Bray Wyatt didn't work, then The Fiend came in.
It came along.
Well, actually, they had the leader of Worlds with Woken Matt
Hart. Bray relies more on his character work than his than anything else, so that can help him out in different aspects of the way he's remembered.
Yeah, and he's also been in some memorable, you know, game-changing moments in wrestling. Yeah. When it comes to Daniel Wyatt leaving the Wyatt family, you know, the whole feud with John Cena before John Cena won.
Those all those thematic matches and everything. I don't think that it is wrong.
Yeah.
My question is, do you look back at this? Somebody look back at this, right? Somebody who think about it. You had no experience with who Eddie Guerrero was. Yeah. And you look and you like, oh, he died in November. Oh, they put him in April. They put him in because he died. Do you look at it that way?
Well, you don't look at it now that way, but back then you looked at it.
Do you though?
So, because
if you have no,
I'm listening, Brian.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, it's just like Eddie had a long. I don't want to say long legend, but it just, I don't know. He just had a longer run of different things that he did, though. Bray Wyatt kept reinventing himself, so it's kind of like the same thing, but it's different at the same time, so I don't think it's comparable.
Okay, but now, wouldn't that go for quality over quantity? or it's not how long you live, how well you live type of thing.
Yeah.
If Eddie had a long career, now I'm not talking about you personally, but if Eddie had a longer career, I don't think, with no disrespect, I don't think Lady Sketch or Q4 remembers when Eddie Guerrero was wrestling with the American pants on.
No,
I don't want you to take that.
I mean,
as
I'm
a
just saying it's
shot.
Eddie and it's LW.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Like,
The LWO was a whole Eddie Guerrero
But,
idea back in WCW before, because everybody, if you think LWO now, you're thinking this Carlito Mysterio stuff right now.
No.
I'm not saying you.
then it's the Radicals. No. The Radicals was
but also, but I mean, if we do that though, like I wasn't around for the Wyatt family. I don't know, like, so I mean, I don't know what to tell y'all. Like, I'm not saying he don't deserve to be in it, but I'm just saying, like, if we doing like just based on what I saw, I seen nothing of the Wyatt family. I think until what was that Mania when The Rock came and beat them in like 2 seconds.
32.
Whoa,
Yeah.
hold on, whoa, that's all right.
That's rough.
That's what I'm saying. I did, yeah.
I'm not taking it as a person. I know that. I know I'm a novice fan, but I'm saying that even from what I saw, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm saying retrospectively.
Yeah.
If you are say our son did not watch wrestling with you.
Yeah.
And y'all go back and y'all looking at all the Hall of Fame people and you're like, oh, Eddie Guerrero, didn't he die?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And then they put him in April. They're like, oh, he just put him in because he died. You and I both know that wouldn't be an uncommon sentiment, especially if you're a person who does not have any history.
That's what I just said. I agree with you on that.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I agree with. I'm saying that's what the sentiment is. That's why I brought him up in the first place.
So I'm saying do you want to do that with Bray Wyatt?
I mean,
Is it a possibility?
I mean, to be completely honest with you, no matter what happens, it's going to be like that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what happens, even if you wait till next year,
yeah,
you're still going to.
You still have people who y'all just put him in because
exactly because they don't understand that the word that Bray Wyatt is done.
I mean, honestly, people probably saying that now about his daddy and his uncle.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Hands down, Bray Wyatt should be in the Hall of Fame. We got fucking Coco Beware in this motherfucker.
I knew he was gonna come up again.
But you know what? At least Coco Beware can wrestle. We got the great Khali in this motherfucker. Okay.
We do.
We got the great Khali, and granted, the great Khali have some moments, not even the WWE, like outside of it, fine. There's Abdullah the Butcher is in this motherfucker. Okay.
This is true.
So, absolutely.
We got some other questionable people in there.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
absolutely, Bray Wyatt deserves.
think so.
Because I think he wants to bring some type of legitimacy back to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Opposed to just putting in people who didn't get on his nerves for the past 15 years.
absolutely, because it's like, bro, there's some people who should have been in here already, but you're just throwing folks in here because you picked a name out of a hat, and it's like to all the people who I didn't want to fire in the last year or so, toss them in there. Like, okay.